Hello. Hello. Alright, nice. We got that all set up. So, I just wanted to touch base, because I'm pretty much done with this league, about my Scourge Arrow character. I made 2 characters this league. Started off with some Blade Vortex, and ended up with this bad boy. So, let's just go through a nice and easy map. Yeah, there's no reflect. And then we'll talk about what makes this build so good. I do think this is one of the strongest builds in the game right now for like general. Actually, I don't want to do this map, even though I am. If I come back, I still want my Elder Circle there. So, hold on. Changing maps real quick, guys. We'll do one of these. Sure. Fantastic. We'll throw some Breach on there for you guys. So I just want to show quick little gameplay, and then we'll go over gear and also tank to volatile there. Good gameplay. Why I think this build's so strong, and what I kind of did with it that's maybe a little bit different than other Scourge Arrow characters. So as you can see, we're running double Herald of Ice and Herald of Lightning. Herald of Lightning is really just for damage. It doesn't really do anything. Herald of Ice is nice because you can shatter things. And then we're also running Arctic Armor just for a little bit of tankiness. But, you know, this is 48% more monster life, and we're not really struggling with damage at all. So, gotta pick up those Toll Splinters. They're actually worth something this league. Sorry if the gameplay's a little choppy. Don't really stream, so not really set up to stream. I hate that. Whatever that snare is, that vine, it's killed me. Probably at least half of my deaths have been to that during like a fortification or something. Alright, I think the point's been made on that. Just on a side note, I was doing like T16 glaciers. That's what I like chose to farm for my T16s, and you definitely get a lot, like not a lot, but a lot more Jeula breaches in like the higher maps. So I would say it's 100% worth it to use breach as your Zana mod, even though they nerfed breach pretty substantially. I mean, there were multiple times where I got 20 Jeula fragments, and I probably only did, I don't know, 50 glaciers this league or something. What I loved about this build, though, is that it is a little bit tankier than like your normal bow build, especially for soft core. This league was, I think, the rippiest. It's the rippiest league I've ever played by far. So it's nice. You know, I got to level 95, so I kind of stopped caring once I reached there because I knew I wasn't gonna go for 100 or whatever. But on the way to 95, it was nice to not have to constantly worry about dying. The Syndicate stuff though was, I mean, just you hit a lag spike with a Tora or a It That Fled, and you're gonna die. Like there's no no Slayer Leech is gonna take you through that. But yeah, let's just finish this up and then we'll go over the character. Oh, nice, a fortification. My absolute favorite. This is like the one thing Scourge Arrow sucks at DPSing is these stupid fucking walls. Alright, now we come outside of the monsters that don't drop loot, and I don't even think they give you XP, but they are some of the hardest hitting monsters in the game. Alright, we'll get the boss down here real quick. Note if you're doing estuaries, never try not to stand next to walls against this guy. Like that. Okay, so we didn't drop anything. But yeah, that was almost 50% more monster life on a T15. So, I mean, obviously not the most intense map in the world by any means, but the damage is good. I did 2 Uber Elders on this build, and I didn't think it was really tough at all. You just kind of run around and I've been trying to 6-link that goddamn Shavs all league. Alright, so here's the build. As you can see, we're level 95. Scourge Arrow has we're at 92% chance to hit. It's not terrible. These DPS numbers mean absolutely nothing, but let's just go over the gear. This bow is like 1C. I think it drops from yellow or red elder, and it's just a really good LE bow. It's fast. Has a lot of flat cold on it, has a lot of accuracy on it. You do take damage per frenzy charge that you have on you, and you get, you know, this a little bit of extra damage, some cold leech. I don't know, you could like build like a ranger around that. I didn't do that. I didn't really care, because that's at 10 frenzy charges, that's 120 to 140 cold damage, and a shitload of damage taken. So I think it's just a good bow without even having frenzy charges on you, especially considering it's 1C. You can see I didn't even bother to put anything in here. I just put my like heralds in here, blink arrow, and faster attacks. So yeah, this bow is just really good for what it is. It has a little bit low crit. That's really its biggest downfall. Starkonjas. I also used the Devotos if I wanted to move a little bit faster. This just gives you some good tankiness. It's just a really good helm. You could also use a rare helm if you wanted to. But Starkonjas is really just good. Again, this is 1C, so we're at 2C here. And we have 6,600 life as a ranger. That's pretty good. Neck is probably my jewelry is garbage. I'll just give you a heads up on that. I stopped caring about trying to upgrade it, but we got some flat wed. We got the resist that we needed to balance our wise oak and life and a bunch of stats. I was a little bit starved early on. Especially if you want to run like Wrath and you don't get it as like you can get level 22 Wrath or whatever on, I think you can get it on a neck actually, or rings, and then you don't need the requirement, so that would be good. I don't think you need Wrath. I think you're better off running defensive stuffs. Ring, int life, res, a little bit of wed. Again, this is like 10C maybe. This is, I think I bought this for 1C. Again, accuracy, not even that high of accuracy, life, terrible res, and good wed. So, not that good of a ring. I ended up just buying these rings to like literally try to balance my Wise Oak. That took me an hour of like searching for crap. Quiver. I just wanted a quiver with some. This has 23 multi, 31 wed, and extra arrow. That's all I was really looking for. Accuracy is also good. One socket Tomb Fists. Obviously, 2 sockets are better. If you only have the 1 socket, though, make sure you use the Murderous Eye for the Intimidate, because that's another 10% multiplier to your damage. Just get life and as much damage as you can on the gem. As far as gems in here, so in here we have Blood Rage, Arctic Armor, Ice Golem, Portal. Nothing too important. Chest, I went with Shroud of the Lightless. I had never used this item before. I really like it. This allows us to not, like, you could do Hope Shredder and just focus on all cold damage, and then use like Cold Pen in any chest that you wanted to. This allows us to get Elemental Penetration is like it's basically having a Cold, Fire, and Lightning Pen in your gear. So I think it's 37 pen to all of them. So that's pretty good. And then we went with Scourge Arrow, obviously. Damage on full life, Mirage Archer, Increased Crit, and Ellie. Damage with attacks. Again, the Abyss Jewel here. We have good life, and not even that good of like these. My Abyss Jewels are like alright. I rolled them all myself. They get really expensive if you want to buy them. But I would just buy 83 jewels and alt and regal them yourself. Best way to, or you can even do like frigid fossils. Metallic fossils are expensive this league, and like a pristine. Let's see if I have a 2-banger. We can try to roll one real quick. I do not. But yeah, let's just do. Give the stream a special treat today. What else do I want to put in there? Oh, like a prismatic. I wouldn't recommend using a 3-socket on Abyss Jewels necessarily. Like, you could do this on belts and actually make, well, that actually didn't turn out. If that was life, that would be alright. But so you can see we have a decent jewel here. This is not that good, but this would work. That's decent cold damage. It's life. There's no such thing as bad life. And then some pen. So you can do that with like 1-socket jewel resonators too. That's perfectly legitimate with the cold ones, and just spam them. I think alt regaling is also really easy on jewels though too. That's how I rolled most of mine. But yeah, you want I-83. These are all I-83s. I-83 is out of T16 maps or T15 maps in an abyssal depth out of the hordes. But yeah, not that hard. These are not that expensive. I think you can get them for early on in the league. They might be, a little expensive for the base, but even then you don't really need an I-83. That's just going to allow you to get like the T1, certain T1 rolls, but really not even that big of a deal. But yeah, so Shroud of the Lightless gives you some life and mana, at max life and mana, and then per Abyss Jewel affecting you, you get 1%. So on our gear we have 5, and then we have a bunch on the tree as well. So probably have close to 10, so that's another 10% life. So you're looking at 18% increased life, bunch of increased mana, which we really don't care about, but it's just a really good chest. I like it a lot. Went over to the Tomb Fist. In here, phase run, increased duration, and decoy totem. This is great for I really use it in the delves a lot, just to run around. It's just pretty good. It consumes your frenzy charges, which is actually not bad with this, because then it takes away the degen, and frenzy charges aren't really the hardest things to get up in the world. Belt. This is not a good belt, but it does it for me. Life, res, crafted wed. Abyss Jewel here is blind. I would recommend at least one blind gem, and then some ally damage. Blind is really strong. Shout out the big bucks for here. I wasn't super cheap here. These are like, I think, 2 exalts or something like that. Cast some damage, shaken, Immortal Call, and then good damage, good life, accuracy. This helps against bosses, and then decent damage. Flasks, run a bleeding. I'm running a bleeding life flask. Just a good Quicksilver flask. Wise Oak, a Freeze Silver flask, and a Curse Diamond flask. The reason I chose to put bleed on here instead of here is if you have freeze on here during like Uber Elder, you have to like use it after you get frozen, whereas since we're Pathfinder sub-ascendant or ascendancy, we're not a full Pathfinder, we're an ascendant that has Pathfinder chosen. Our flasks are up for most of the time, and we just run around, and with our flasks up, we're curse immune, we're freeze immune, and then obviously we have the benefits of this. So that's why I would recommend freeze immunity on a flask that you don't have to respond to, whereas with bleeding or something like that, with bleeding, you notice the bleed. There's fewer enemies that can put bleeds on you. Against someone like Chimera or something like that, I would probably swap this out for another bleed flask as well, or if you're doing like Uber Lab. Even Uber Lab though, it doesn't really matter. You run around so fast with the fucking Devotos on. You're not like the fastest person in the world, as you can see, but with our flask pop, we can kind of move, and we get movement speed when we have frenzy charges from here, I believe. But yeah, now the jewels. This is where it gets expensive. That was every piece of gear, right? Yep. So we're only using Scourge Arrow. That's our only ability. Here is the tree. Again, start off with the Ascendancy. I went here first. Slayer. This allows you to be really tanky. Gives you Culling Strike. A little bit of extra damage. But Life Leech is not removed at full life. That basically means that you just constantly are adding to a leech pool that will always activate when you take damage. And then this allows us to use the damage of full life gem, which is a DPS boost. Then Path of the Duelist. You could these last 2 points you could put here if you wanted to. And then I went with Pathfinder. You could do there's a variety of other ones that you could do. I'd like Pathfinder. It gives you a little bit of movement speed, and then you just get more flask stuff. Raider gives you frenzy charges on like hitting rare enemies, and onslaught permanently. So you could run like a basalt or something like that. I just like the flask stuff. I think Flash stuff makes us just a lot easier to play with. This is for all Scion stuff here, but well, I'll just go through where I started. Leveling the Scion is weird. I never did it before. Basically end up having to refund a bunch of points, but I kind of went through like this area in the beginning, leveling up. This was the last point that I took. You obviously want this life wheel. I guess I'll just start up here. These are 2 Might of the Meeks, so these 2 jewels give you, pardon me for 1 second. Alright, we're back. Sorry. These jewels amplify all of these small nodes here, but they don't grant them to you. So, like all these life nodes, like this one is 10% increased life now, because it's been amplified twice. It's getting hit by both jewels. These are 7.5 now. I think they get rounded down for whatever reason. And they don't hit this, which is important, because they make these not worth anything. As you can see, this doesn't give me anything. So these 2 jewels alone are like, you know, we get 36 resist all here instead of 12 resist all, which is pretty nice. Then we get, I think we're looking at a total of like I should be able to calculate this, but I'm blanking. So that's 15% increased life there alone, and then these 2 here are like 2 each, so 23% increased life, 36% resist all, for a total of we'll just say 7 points, because you're gonna take this node obviously anyway. So yeah, 100%, like the best thing in the world. These things are like 120 chaos, but very, very worth it. So we get, yeah, that gives us 300 life just for that jewel. But the other reason that it's so strong with this is because we're also using Unnatural Instinct. This is a very expensive jewel. I think it's like 15x now or something like that. But these are amplifying these small nodes here. And what this jewel does is it allocates all of these passives that you haven't taken. And these passives are also getting boosted by these gems. So this gem is giving us, you can see it right there, for us, what's important is the attack speed. That's a massive amount of attack speed. A little bit of life, 16% movement speed, and then 82% crit multiplier. That's insane. I mean, that's absolutely fucking insane for a jewel. 100% worth it if you have the money. Once I spec'd into Path of the Duelist, I went down here, attack speed, life, you know, a little bit of life here, get the Proj nodes, another Abyss Jewel, bad life, good damage, more life, Volpact, we want Volpact, we love Volpact. We're not getting the Leech nodes here, because we'll get them from the Lionized Fall Jewel up there. Here's the Bow nodes, point blank, very good with Scourge Arrow, go over that in a second why. Bow crit, elemental damage, life, crit multi, another Abyss Jewel. Acro, you could spend an extra 3 here. I thought it was more worth it to get like this right here, but you could get phase acro if you wanted. If I went to 100, I would probably put 4 of my points in here. More life. Again, pen here, so 6% pen here, and 5% here, so 11 on the tree, plus the 37 from our chests, and 13 from this. So we're able to completely penetrate Uber Elder, and that's pretty good. You love to be able to penetrate people. This jewel's been in the game for a while. These are claw nodes, but they become bow nodes in this radius. So this jewel gives us crit, multi, so 60% crit, 45% multi, and then this gives us leech, double leech, mana and life, and then also the increased life leech per second, which obviously, doubles with this. So this node right here, which is pretty good for being taken, is 20%. This is 50%. So you do have to put some extra points in here. This build is very starved on points, but I really like this node. More life, another Abyss Jewel. As you can see, the theme on the Abyss Jewel is just you want lightning or cold, really. You could do fire as well. My resist is cold and lightning are here, so when I pop this, I take reduced fire damage, but these two I get the extra pen on, which is why I chose to go more for lightning and cold. Came in here, took these nodes. Here's your big boy crit node right here, and then these also give you some int, which is important, and some attack speed. So that is that. Why point blank is good is so obviously if the mob is over here, right, we're losing damage from our charge up hit, but these spore pods, when they explode, if the boss is like at that last spore pod underneath it, it's taking full damage from the Scourge Arrows, which is like what the most damage comes from, is the things that actually explode out. The reason why I think additional arrow is really good, I'll take this off for a second. If you see, so this also, Scourge Arrow is a little strange to play because you have to charge it. But if we don't have the additional arrow, the things go kind of in a straight line like that, even if we're close to our body. What this does is now if we're close to us, look where the pods go. Right? So if the boss is right here, we actually do more damage. Just boom, he's going to take all of that point blank damage. That's 50% more. So I think it's, even for clearing too, I think it's just better to have additional arrow. It just makes the pods go in like a much more manageable direction. But yeah, like I said, I'll show my atlas here, what I did. So I'm set up for T16 drops, so and T15. So I scoured all of my Guardians and my T15s, and I got an Elder Bubble over here. Got lucky with these two Shaper Strongholds. I was just able to manipulate and always have this as an Elder or Shaper map. But yeah, that's it. I had a lot of fun with this build. But if you have any questions, I'll put the paste bin for my build in the YouTube description. I think we're looking at like the Scourge Arrows, like each one of those little things is like 1.2 million or something like that. But yeah, it's a really strong build and very tanky because of the Slayer Pathfinder Ascendancy. So yeah, thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, leave me a message.